I'm Sydney. I'm a fourth-year senior at James Madison College, and I'm majoring in International Relations and Comparative Cultures and Politics with minors in French and European Studies. So through JMC, I've been able to do 5 trips. I did a career exposure trip in Washington, D.C., and it was a week long. And then my next trip, I did a study abroad. It was international relations in Brussels, Belgium. My next trip was to New Delhi, India. It was a Madison Diversity Leadership Program in India. My next trip after that was another career exposure trip to New York City. They change the city every year, so it's kind of a unique opportunity to go more than once. And then my last trip was an internship back in Washington, D.C. again. I definitely think each of the experiences were unique in and of themselves, but I wouldn't have been able to get any of them without JMC. JMC was definitely the one setting up those opportunities and making sure they were still relevant to my majors and what I was learning. So it was always really a great hands-on experience. When I was making my college decisions are stressful, and I was deciding between a small private school in Indiana and then Michigan State University. But at the time, I was declared as political science. I didn't apply to MSU as JMC. But then I did a JMC welcome day, and I realized, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I want to do. Why didn't I apply to this first? And I think the parts that really sold me, and I'm still really happy with my decision to switch into JMC and then come here, was that it is truly, you get the big college feel. Michigan State University is a Big Ten university. You still get the football games, the basketball games, but then you also really get the small college feel. I know every single professor in the hallway. They all pass me and say hello. I can feel like I can go into any faculty's office and ask them for help or talk to them about their research or just be able to have a good conversation with them and feel like they have my back. And that's truly what I was looking for. So I think if you're looking into JMC, that's definitely a huge factor to consider because it really helped me in deciding. So within political science, I always knew I was more interested on the international side of things. So coming in, I had kind of decided I was going to do international relations. Then I was sitting in my freshman year seminar. It was a writing class, and my 111 professor kind of pulled me aside one day after class, and he was like, what major are you going to choose? And I was like, I'm really interested in doing international relations. And he was like, I think you should stick with that, but would you consider picking up the other international major in JMC? And that's Comparative Cultures and Politics. And he kind of explained to me based on what I was writing in class and kind of the questions that I was asking in class, it was leaning more towards Comparative Cultures and Politics, because where the majors kind of differ is one is the top-down approach, and that's international relations, but then the other is the bottom-up. And with CCP, you're really looking at the people, what happened after colonization, and kind of the people within a country. And that's always the questions I was more focused on in class. So he really encouraged me to pick it up, and I realized that I really did want to do both majors. I thought it was a good way to spend my time in JMC, is to really just be able to look at the international realm, but wholly and not just one side or the other. So that's kind of how I ended up in both. I think something you realize right away in JMC is how much the faculty care here. They don't want you to feel like you're struggling or that you're alone, especially as a freshman when you're just starting college. It's a lot. It's scary. You have to figure out how to feed yourself for the first time. So it was really helpful to have a professor there looking out for me, because I was just picking a major because I felt like I needed to make the decision just so it was something off my plate. But it was really nice to have someone sit me down and kind of talk me through what my options were. Then I kind of felt like I was making the right decision because I had someone else in my corner.